Now, the Secretary General of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries known as OPEC, Adeoye, says the future of Africa is brighter than ever before, in that OPEC is excited to be a partner on the journey with the continent. The OPEC chief says the group is proud of its African members who have brought so much to OPEC and continue to contribute in countless ways to the success of the organization. Adeoye was speaking earlier today in Paris as the head of OPEC delegation to the Investing in Africa Energy Roadshow. Now let's dive more into the two-day Paris summit as we bring on Zion Adeoye, the Nigerian-born CEO and managing partner at CLG, one of the biggest legal advisory firm in energy, headquartered in Johannesburg, South Africa. Great having you connected in tonight. We appreciate it out of Paris.
It's a pleasure to be with you again.
Thank you so much. Now, what is the overarching focus of the forum in Paris, which kicked off today? Talk to me.
So, I mean, it's invest in energy, African energy, and that's the simple message that the world needs energy. Africa needs energy. 600 million Africans do not have access to electricity, and as you've heard, the previous segment, 1.2 billion. Women lack access to clean cooking opportunities. And so we are here, advocating for investment in energy in Africa to generate revenue for key sector projects, but also for use because Africa does have the capacity to develop. And through energy is the foundation of all development from historic times till now. And it's important for us to continue to journey to and advocate for investment in energy on the continent.
Very interesting. Last year's forum saw the interest of the European investors in Africa's growing energy sector. What's the outlook for this year's roadshow out there in Paris, Zion?
It's a simple. There's a part to be played on both sides. Of course, investors would always go where you have a conducive environment for investment. So we're not mincing words. We're not hiding from the responsibility that we have on the continent as well to ensure that there's an enabling environment for investment. We have to ensure that the laws are not opaque, to ensure that there are support services, security, to ensure that we put the right things in place to incentivize investment. And once we do that, the opportunities abound across the continent, from established markets like Nigeria to nascent markets like Namibia. And investors are looking, and we are bringing the story here. We're bringing the message here, right here, having that connection, which will culminate, in events and engagements that we'll also have on ground in Africa as well, to ensure that the right capital is attracted to the continent and ensure that we can develop African energies.
Very interesting event you've had today, the first of the opening day of this two-day roadshow, and the OPEC Secretary General there, Adeoye, was talking about, says he's proud of African countries being members of OPEC, that OPEC nations, African members have contributed to the progress or the success of OPEC as an organization. He says that OPEC is excited to be a partner on the journey with the African continent. How does this resonate in the room if you consider the whole idea of energy transition and all that, and OPEC solidly supporting Africa, and those of you who put this roadshow together for the global investors out of Paris?
It's exciting to see. I think Africans are now, bolder in declaring the message that, we can lead the way, especially in matters that concern us. African countries have blessed with resources, energy resources across the spectrum, and understanding that whether fossil fuels or renewable energy, we have things that are able to develop our continent, and we will use these resources to develop our continent. And we do not care about, the narratives about whatever source of energy it is. We are going all energies to ensure that this deficit of 600 million people without electricity, is plugged. And there's opportunity for industrial growth as well, which would then require higher forms of energy. Energy will be required also to develop critical minerals for the future. And Africa must take its rightful place, in the development of these resources. So it's a great thing to hear the feedback from OPEC showing the leadership of Africans, and institutions like the African Energy Chamber will continue to advocate globally on African matters to ensure that we take our rightful position at the table and continue to drive growth of the world, of course, of Africa and certainly the world.
So, but what about other partners at the forum, such as the African Energy Chamber? I grabbed something online just about an hour or so ago from NG Ayuk, who is the executive chairman of the AEC, saying that Africa is not ashamed of producing hydrocarbon, even as we see countries like Namibia and others, Senegal and others, including South Africa, reaching furiously for oil, gas, hydrogen, other forms of fossil fuel, including clean energy as well, as we're seeing out of a number of African economies.
It is the right message, it's just the right mentality, and we'll continue to drum it up. All energies, are welcome. And it's also exciting to know that technology exists today to monetize carbon. So carbon generated from oil and gas production, even from coal, can be converted and monetized. So there is no reason why Africans cannot use their resources to develop their countries. The era of aid and, going cap in hand to receive, future threatening, financing all over the world is past. Africans are realizing that we have enough to do what we need to do to develop our continent, and it starts with energy. That's an obvious gap that we see. I mean, the thought of 600 million people without electricity, I think, is shocking. And we need to ensure that we do not have the same, story in the next couple of years. So the work of the Energy Chamber is very important. As you're aware, all of these engagements across the world will culminate in the African Energy Week in November this year. And we would then again have everyone come together to discuss issues surrounding development of energy across the continent.
You're in the legal profession, as it were. Well, what are the legal or some of the major legal and regulatory frameworks that are currently shaping Africa's energy sector? Talk to me about some of these, and if they are coming on the table as part of the conversations out there in Paris today, tomorrow, and how this will be addressed when there are concerns from investors around legal framework and issues within the oil and gas sector and other energy-based sectors on the continent.
Certain these conversations are being had, incentivizing development or attracting capital requires a legal regulatory framework that works for investors as well as for the host nations and also the local private sector across the continent. Now, it's not one, cap fit all. Different countries have their different regimes, which are in class. Some jurisdictions already have some level of development. Others need to provide more incentives to ensure that investors flood. Nigeria is doing well, in my view. I think having proper institutions who are guided under regulations that are, based on of past experiences and, getting investors involved, engaging with all stakeholders. What you've seen in Nigeria is that we can revolutionize the sector and begin to grow as a true leader in the energy scene on the continent. So the legal and regulatory framework indispensable to attracting the right capital and also indispensable to ensuring that investors can continue to flourish.
Very interesting time, and of course I'm sure you've got a whole lot still tonight, meeting with investors and putting some legal framework behind the ECP and the African Energy Chamber and the rest of you that put this together in Paris, France. Thank you very much, Adeoye, the CEO and Managing Partner at CLG. We thank you so much for speaking with us on our Rise Exchange. Wish you all the best out there in Paris.